All right, back again and ready to talk about my favorite independent comic book company of the 21st century. It's Alterna Comics. I have done one of these reviews before. I recommended Psycho KO. I absolutely am in love with that comic book and still am. It's good fun for all ages. Really reminds me of Scooby-Doo in its style, not necessarily in its substance, but in its style. And I think anyone would enjoy it, especially for only $1.50. You can't go wrong. Today I want to cover Alterna's science fiction titles, at least three of them. I picked up three of them, and I just wanted to talk about them a little bit because I had a pretty good time with them. This is Atom Wreck. This is by Michael S. Bracco, and I really find the color palette interesting. Very muted tones, orange. Is this teal? I don't know, grayish, tealish, colorish stuff, black and white. And that's pretty much all you get in this comic, and I find that to be an interesting stylistic choice because obviously Alterna does full color comics that look phenomenal, but the creator has chosen to do this. And it's just about a boy who gets basically space pirates attack his ship. This is mom and dad, and they got to dump him on a planet when the space pirates come in. It's a chicken and a pig. And he ends up, on this planet and just kind of walking around and exploring things, finds this crystal. Oh, Dad, thank goodness you're okay. Adam, are you all right? Oh, we're coming. But then, oh no, they're not okay. Like the space pirates get him. And I don't want to give away all of this story, but truthfully, this just didn't do anything for me. The art is all right. The color choice is all right. It's just the story was not enough for me, and it wasn't something I don't think would hold the attention of the little kids in my family either. But that maybe it's just me. So I am going to pass on any future issues of Atom Wreck, but that's okay. It doesn't mean you will. You might want to check it out, especially at only $1.50. You can't go wrong, unless you don't like it, and then you did go wrong, like I went wrong. But that's okay. Next up is one of their new comics. This is Exilium, and this was good. Interesting CG cover here with hand-drawn art too. And this is by, I hope I don't butcher these names. Ben Slayback is the creator and writer. Salomon Farias is the penciler and inker. And Mark Sintes did a fantastic job on the colors. Everybody did a fantastic job on this book. Very unique look, kind of reminds me of Mobius a little bit. And it's unique, and this kid's running, this little alien's running, but I don't really understand what exactly this comic book is about. But it had me holding on a little bit. I'm probably going to pick up issue 2 just to try to figure out what's going on. The colorist did a great job. The artist did a great job. I'm just not sure what the point of it was. As you can see, there's a lot of people standing around on a ship and doing stuff. And they're still just standing around. Now they're going to fly in the ships, finally. And we're on page 23, and we're finally going to maybe start getting to some action. And I found that to be redundant. Very redundant. But it kind of felt like something was going to happen here. Just I couldn't put my finger on what. Not enough plot points in this first issue. But definitely drawn well. Definitely colored phenomenally well. That's one of my favorite things about Alterna is the colors. Very, very good choices in colors. And I would recommend Exilium issues 1 and 2 just to see what they're about. But I might change my mind after I read issue 2. It might not do it for me. But I'm glad that at least the artist and the colorist are being employed to some degree and being paid a little bit of money to hone their crafts even better because they have some talent and they're going to go places. Last is Eric Henson's Eden. This book is great. This is really great. This is everything I want in a science fiction comic book set in space. The story and the pencils are by Eric Henson. The inks are by Michael Babinski. The colors are by Stephen Downer. And Stephen Downer did a phenomenal job on this. This fella is going to get a lot of work in the future in comic books because of the work he's done here to really bring an alien planet to life. This chick is basically hunting down her son who's been kidnapped. Look at this art. This is a really unique part. This is like a wall with all these faces, and they've got to, open it up, and they're going to open his mouth, and they go inside of it, which is interesting. And, they didn't go inside of it. This monster bursts out of the ground, and they fall into the monster's belly. I was confused. It's all one giant monster? And I wish you could see the faces on the monster. But you can't. But they fall down inside of his gullet, which is really a unique place to have an adventure, is in the stomach of a monster. And, a lot of action, not a lot of dialogue. It's not necessary. I respect a writer, even though the writer is the artist. A lot of writers want to, fill it up with dialogue to feel like they gave you your money's worth. But I think a good writer is willing to let the action just play out without any words. And get back to this giant wall thing, and very interesting, very unique. They're going to figure out what's going on. I don't want to give away too much of this, but I do want to say that Eric Henson's Eden is just as interesting as Psycho KO, but this is more for people 12 and up, in my opinion. And I'm going to buy all 4 issues of this as it comes out here. This is one of the new comics. Issue 2 just came out here in December, and I'm not going to miss it. So I suggest you don't miss it either, because Eric Henson's Eden is something special. If you're a sci-fi fan, out of the 3 books I've shown today, if you can only afford $1.50 for one book, this would be the book to get, because Eric Henson's doing something really original, really special, and I can't wait to see where it goes. So support your local comic shop, support your independent comic book publishers like Alterna. They need your support, especially a company like Alterna, who is doing it. Peter Simeti is the owner of Alterna, and he is doing his best to bring you good comics, and there's some variety. These could exist in the same galaxy, but then you have Adam Rec, which is obviously a totally different universe, its own world, and so there is something here for kids of all ages, and I'm gonna recommend you stick with Alterna, because at $1.50 you can't go wrong. For $30 you can get yourself 20 comics, and you can't do that at Marvel or DC. You can get yourself 6 comics for $30. But with Alterna, because newsprint is back in style, which is what this is. This is newsprint, and look at the quality though. Look at the colors. Look at the quality of the printing job on this. I've only had a couple of these comics come with, the printer. I just felt like it was the printer's fault, rather than Alterna's fault. Like they just had a printer. Maybe it was running out of ink. Maybe they just did a shoddy job. But you never see, like in the old days, the colors would be printed outside the lines, and that was just terrible. I hated when that would happen in a comic book, and that's clearly not a problem. So whoever Peter Simeti at Alterna has printing Eden, this is the printer you want to go with. If you're doing your own books, contact Peter and ask him for some advice, and don't be afraid to put it on newsprint, because I don't need glossy. If a comic is going to look this good on newsprint, I don't need glossy paper. There's no need. Not for me. But maybe that's just me. So that's it. I've rambled on long enough about Alterna and how incredibly awesome they are, and how you should pick up all their books to see which ones suit your needs best. And I will talk to you again tomorrow about another totally awesome comic book here on Crypto Comics.